This edition of MacVoices is brought to you by SupportYourApp. SupportYourApp specializes in supporting Mac and iOS apps since 2011. When your app gets featured in the App Store, SupportYourApp will help you deal with the avalanche of customer feedback, will help you build your support processes faster, and will save your developers time to focus on the product. Learn more at SupportYourApp.com. MacVoices is in San Jose for WWDC and AltConf. I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, I want to share with you what I think is probably my favorite new app because it is so useful and so simple to use. And the great thing about it is I want you to adopt it because then when I meet you, we can use it together. This is Aleksey of Yodel Code, and he's going to show us Slip. Aleksey, welcome.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you for being here. And I have to tell you, when you showed me this morning, I'd heard about it earlier in the week. When you showed it to me, it just blew me right away.
That's great. It's kind of a uniform response. Everybody that sees the app loves the app, and I'm excited about that.
Well, I think you should be because it sort of solves one of the problems that we have at conferences like this and other places of sharing contact information. You know, we all have the business card thing. That's kind of obligatory, but you lose business cards, you misplace business cards, or you have to transcribe the information into your contact manager. Slip eliminates all of that.
Yeah, if you're like me, you've got a stack of business cards at home that you always say, one of these days I'm going to get them into my address book. Yeah, you know, I'm dating myself, but years ago there was the Palm Pilot. And they had this wonderful way of exchanging contact information called Beam My Card. It used infrared where you just get two devices and you just point them next to each other and they'd exchange contact information. But infrared fell out of favor as different wireless technologies came into being, like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. And then since then, we just haven't had an easy way to exchange contact information. There was something a few years ago called Bump, and when I first heard about Bump, I loved the idea. It was brilliant, but in practice, it just wasn't that practical. I just didn't like the idea of bumping my $1,000 device next to another $1,000 device, and if you bump too hard, you can bump somebody's phone out of their hands. And it also depended on GPS and a wireless signal and internet access. Slip is just a peer-to-peer Bluetooth connection, and it's basically, I just tell people it's just like Bump but without the bump.
Well, and I want to restate that again. It's a completely Bluetooth wireless connection between the two devices. Yeah. So I'm not sharing with anybody else. I'm not dependent on anyone else. But how am I successfully connecting my phone to your phone without there being any issues and establishing that secure connection?
So it's based on proximity using the signal strength of Bluetooth. And so each device can determine what the nearest device is to it. However, it doesn't have a lot of granularity to that signal. And so Slip uses a visual cue that identifies to two users that they are the closest device to each other, and as a result of that, transmitting information securely and privately only between the two of them. As it is with Bluetooth, all that data that is being transmitted is being transmitted everywhere, and you want to know that, no, I only want it to go to this one device. And so I'm just going to show you with these two iPhones that I have right now. So when two Slip users want to exchange contact information, they just both launch Slip at the same time, and if they're right next to each other, a color and pattern is going to appear on both phones. And if it's the same color and pattern, then they know they have a secure connection between the two of them and no one else. If there was a connection with somebody else, they wouldn't have the same color and pattern. And so once you have the same color and pattern, you just simply swipe up at the same time, and that's it. You've got each other's contact information.
If you don't have that matching pattern, you really can't share it anywhere anyway because it's not connected to anything.
That's right. It's you have to be like within a foot or two. You don't have to be right next to each other, but you want to be close enough so that both people can see each other's phones. So you both get a what I call a bilateral visual verification that you are exchanging contacts with yourself and not some third person that's nearby that may be wanting to get your contact information.
Sell you something.
Being the celebrity that you are.
Oh yeah, right. But the visual cue is so good because there are no numbers to enter. There's nothing really to see, and you've used that big beautiful face of the phone to say, yes, I've got this connection and it's secure, and now I know there's really only one thing I can do with it, and that is share my contact.
Exactly. I wanted to make it very, very simple, so it's just one swipe or one gesture of the phone, and I wanted to make it very obvious, and as a result of the way it works, and trying to make it simple, I don't want to have any kind of login. There is no server component. It's just a very simple app that just works between two people.
Okay, so we've made that connection and we've exchanged cards.
Yes.
Where does that information go on my phone? Where does your information go on my phone?
So that information is first of all stored within Slip, and one of the things that's a convenience that's stored with that received information, if you've enabled it, is the GPS location of where you met that person. I find that that's really helpful for me in remembering where who I met and where I met them. It's great for memory recall. You can also enable Slip to add it to your contacts address book, and then it's saved into your contacts. And once it's in contacts, then it's very easy to use that information in email on other devices if you're using iCloud. And so it's really up to you how much, what you want to do with that received information. But it's most convenient to enable Slip to give access to the contacts address book, so you have all that information in one place. And Slip, that information is secure. Slip doesn't transfer that information to any servers or anything. I know from years past, there were a number of apps that before Apple put in the safeguards that sucked down people's full address book, and so that's something that I want to make sure people are very aware that this is something that we would never do with Slip. It's a standalone app without any kind of server component.
Well, I like the idea that you give me the choice. I can kind of segregate the contacts I make with Slip inside the app, or I can share them across to my general contacts database and have them permanently. So it's just a nice idea that I may come to AltConf and decide, okay, just anybody who's using Slip, I'm going to gather. That's how we're going to exchange information, but I may not want that to go the whole way back into my contacts database, at least not right away.
Correct. Some people may want to keep people that they connect with through Slip completely separate from their address book. My own personal preference is keep it all together. You can group things in the address book. The address book has groups. But like you said, users have the flexibility to do what suits them best.
Okay, so I'm a Slip user.
Yes.
But you showed me a way that I don't have to launch the app, that I can actually do it a whole lot easier. And it's easy enough as it is, but you made it even easier.
Yes. I know that when two people meet and decide to exchange contact information, they want it to be quick. They want to get back to the context of why they're talking in the first place. It's not about just exchanging contact information. And so it should be as fast and easy as just giving somebody a business card. I've built a Today widget that you can install so that without even unlocking your phone, you can just get to your Today widgets, and the Slip widget is right there, and it immediately starts working. You just tap on it once you've verified that the person next to you has the same color and pattern on their phone, and you've got their contact information.
And again, you've made it so easy. And with the color and pattern, I mean, I think that's brilliant because there are no codes to decipher or anything. If I can see the color, great. If I can see the pattern, great. And if I can see both, even better. And I know I've got that connection, and I'm gathering the information the way I want to.
Yeah, it's really actually fun. I am thrilled when I actually am able to use it with somebody, because it's not only colorful because of the colors and patterns that show up, but it's kind of magical to see two devices all of a sudden have the same color and pattern. It's sort of like, well, how did that happen? We didn't do anything. We just launched our apps. How does it know? And that's sort of part of the secret sauce that's built into Slip. There's one thing that that I'm continuing to work on, which is to make Slip useful in a lot more circumstances. Because I know that sometimes when people are in a rush and they want to exchange contact information, you can't wait for the other person to download Slip so you can exchange contact information. So I'm planning to add some new features that will make the app more useful in situations where you might be the only person that's got Slip in the room. But hopefully after this video, that won't be the case.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I want everybody to go to the App Store and get it, which begs the question, how much is Slip?
So Slip is free, and it will always stay free because I want everybody to have it, and I don't want to have any friction that will have people pause in whether or not they are trying to decide whether or not to download it. So it's a free app. I also hate advertising, and so my goal is for it to never have any advertising. I am working on some pro features that will make the Slip more useful to business users, and so and I've got some other ideas that I'm going to build out, and so I'm not worrying about a business model for now, and that will come later. But Slip is free now, and the basic functionality will continue to be free for all time.
That is a business model, but this one I can honestly see working because I don't know what the pro features are. I'm not asking because they're not here yet. But I would love to see this become a standard because it is just so useful. It is so much easier and better than a business card. Because I've got all the information and the information that I want to share. You've also, I should mention that, I was kind of intrigued when I went in and looked, that you let me sort of select the information that I want to share from my card. That I'm not just blasting everybody all my contact information. I can kind of selectively pick what I want to share.
Yeah, when I was developing Slip and I selected my own contact info to share with a test device I had, I realized, hold on, I've got a lot of information in this contact. I don't want to share all that. And that's when I realized I can't do this. I've got to add a capability that allows users to cherry pick which items in their contact card that they have for themselves to share with somebody. In the next release of Slip, which will happen this summer, I'm going to build on that capability to introduce what I call personas. So you can share a particular persona of yourself depending on the context. So you may have a business persona, you may have a social persona, family persona, a dating persona. And so these different personas will have different degrees of information that you'll be sharing.
Again, I really like that because I realized when we were going through and I was looking at mine, yes, I'm happy to share a business phone number. Not so sure that I want to share my home phone number. Yeah. Maybe my cell phone is okay, but maybe something else isn't. Yeah. So again, you've clearly put a lot of thought in this, and that's what struck me as it is so useful. It's so easy that I want you to go and check this out. I want this to become a standard so that when we do meet, you can just slip me your card. Is that the right phrase?
Yes.
Okay.
Slip away.
Slip away. Do you have a website where all these features get explained?
Unfortunately, I do not yet. And even though I do have a website at yodelcode.com, it's embarrassingly out of date. The best place to get information is in the App Store. The app is called Slip. And if it doesn't come up right away, you can search for Yodel code, and then through searching for Yodel code, you can find the Slip app.
And of course, I'll have links in the show notes so you can go right to the app so you don't have to search for it. Thank you so much for the time, and thank you for a fantastic app.
Thanks, Chuck. I really appreciate it.
It's great to meet you, yes.
Thank you.
When you get some of the new features up and running, please come back and tell us about them.
Okay, will do.
Will do.
Thanks.
He's got my card. Folks, until the next time, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our MacVoices Facebook group and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices magazine, free on Flipboard. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us at patreon.com/MacVoices and join these folks who help keep MacVoices coming to you. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.